I've been seeing someone else. She said it like she was talking about buying new shoes. No remorse, no hesitation, just cold indifference. I set my bowl down slowly, trying to process what I'd just heard. "You're joking?" I asked. She laughed. "Oh, don't act so shocked. You probably suspected it." And she wasn't wrong. Late nights, a silent phone, her sudden disinterest, something had been off for months. But hearing her admit it without an ounce of shame, that hit differently. "And you're telling me this because?" I kept my voice steady. She shrugged. "Because I don't see the point in lying anymore. You're not going to leave me." Then she smiled. "Even if you did, you'd still be paying me alimony. I'd get my cut either way." That was the moment I decided she was going to regret every single word. But I didn't fight. I didn't scream. I just nodded. "I get it. I won't fight you on it." That calmness threw her off. She was expecting outrage, but I gave her acceptance. And that's exactly what I needed her to believe. Over the next few weeks, I played my role perfectly. I encouraged her late nights, suggested she stay at his place, pushed her toward more financial independence. "You deserve to feel empowered," I told her. She started taking over the bills, feeling responsible. She got a promotion, spent more time away from home, and slowly she slipped right into the trap. One day I made my final move. "Maybe it's time you fully embraced your new life," I said casually. "You deserve to be happy." She agreed, relieved. When she finally moved out, I struck. I transferred the last bits of debt into her name, filed for divorce. And when she returned from a week-long vacation with her lover, her key didn't work. When I opened the door, her bags were already packed. "What's this?" she demanded. "No joke," I said. "You don't live here anymore." I handed her an envelope. Divorce. Papers. Her face fell as she read. "But we haven't even discussed alimony." "Oh, we won't need to. You're not getting any." She flipped through the papers, panic rising. "Your income is lower than mine. Has been for a while now." I smiled as the reality sank in. The woman who thought she had me trapped just realized she'd played herself. And I didn't feel the slightest bit sorry, still trying to process. No, no, no. You make 6 figures. There's no way. I held up another document. Not anymore. My new job pays significantly less. She froze, fingers crumpling the papers. You did this on purpose." I smirked. "I just made some smart career choices." She flipped to the next page, and that's when it hit her. "Wait, why does it say I'm the primary financial provider?" "Because you are." Her hands shook as she scanned the financial statements, the debt breakdown, the mortgage details. And then she saw it. "Why is the mortgage under my name? You signed for it, remember? Better interest." "Wait." She staggered back, her body trembling. She hadn't just lost her golden parachute. She'd strapped herself to a financial anvil. No alimony, no stability, just debt. This isn't fair," she whispered. I shrugged. Neither was cheating. Her eyes darted to the final document. The rental agreement, the moving truck, the new address. Her face paled. This is his address." I smiled. "You said you wanted to be with him. Now you have no choice. But he doesn't want me living with him." I feigned shock. "Oh, that's awkward." Her phone rang, his name flashing on the screen. I'd answer that if I were you. He probably just found out about the debt, too. She stood there, clutching the papers like they could somehow shield her from reality. But there was no escape. "So let's sum it up," I said. "You make more money than me. You have all the debt in your name, and you moved out voluntarily. In court, that means you get nothing." Her breath hitched. "This isn't fair." I let out a short chuckle. "Oh, you're right. But not for the reason you think." The moving truck pulled up, her face drained of color. "You didn't," she whispered. Oh, I did. Her world crumbled, and I walked back inside, my house, the one she thought she'd take, from me. In the courtroom, she tried to fight, but the facts spoke for themselves. Higher earner, financially independent, responsible for all the debt. The judge barely hesitated. Mrs. Linda, based on the financial records, you do not qualify for alimony. She collapsed in her seat, defeated. The divorce papers were signed. And I walked away free. Months later, a text popped up. I miss you. Maybe we can meet up. It was Linda. I didn't even respond. Just blocked her number. She thought she'd trapped me. But in the end, she was the one left with nothing. My lawyer played his part perfectly, pretending to be flustered as he shuffled through the papers. Oh, he muttered, brow furrowed. Looks like we printed two versions of the prenup by mistake. The old draft and the final version. Barbara barely blinked. To her, this was just a clerical error. She skimmed the pages without reading, then confidently pointed to the modified version, the one that protected me completely. I forced myself not to smile. Are you sure, babe? I don't want to mess this up. She rolled her eyes and laughed. Stop worrying. Let's just sign this. She had no idea she'd just signed away all her leverage. The prenup was legally binding, witnessed, and documented. She thought she'd won. She had no idea she was walking into her own trap. The wedding was a spectacle, an extravagant event with hundreds of guests, white roses, and a live orchestra. Barbara played the perfect bride, convinced she was securing her financial future. Too bad she never saw what was coming. As she walked down the aisle, smiling like she'd already won, I waited. When it came time for vows, I raised my hand, stopping the priest mid-sentence. The room fell silent. Before we continue, I just want to thank my wonderful fiancé for signing such a fair and honest prenup. Barbara's smile vanished. Why are we bringing this up now? She whispered. Because I want everyone here to witness how much we trust each other, I said. After all, it only matters if someone planned to leave or take half my wealth. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Barbara's face drained of color. Can we just move on? She pleaded. Shook my head. No, I don't think we should. I pulled out my phone and played a recording of her voice. He's too dumb to notice. The prenup's in my favor. If we divorce, I get half. Silence, then murmurs. Her parents looked horrified. Her friends stared, shocked. You didn't read the prenup, did you? I said softly. You picked the one that protects me, not you. Her hands trembled. Please. I still want to marry you. Forget the prenup. I stepped back. If you loved me, you wouldn't hesitate? I turned and walked away. Barbara was left at the altar, humiliated. Her dream life crumbled in an instant. Her family disowned her. Friends distanced themselves. And when she reached out, I ignored her. Even her lawyer's plea for a settlement fell on deaf ears. In the end, Barbara lost everything: the wealth, the status, the security she schemed for. And me? I walked away free. She thought she was playing me. She never realized I was 10 steps ahead, and that, my friends, is what true karma looks like. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.